In today's rapidly evolving digital landscape, the premise of transformation through modernization has become paramount. Organizations worldwide are leveraging AI, automation, and cloud computing to drive efficiency, innovation, agility, heralding a new era of interconnected digital solutions. Now, it's within this context of dynamic change that we are aiming to explore and showcase the strategic role of these technologies in reshaping processes and driving digital transformation. Leading the charge in this transformative journey is Azi Handley, VP of Global Strategic Alliances at Kyndryl. With a career spanning over 24 years, Azi brings a wealth of experience and expertise to the table. Her strategic focus on cross-alliance partnerships with industry giants like VMware, Red Hat, Oracle, and others demonstrate her commitment to harnessing the power of AI, automation, and cloud solutions. Through her leadership, Azi not only navigates the complexities of modernization, but also accelerates cloud consumption and optimizes environments, driving tangible and impactful digital transformation initiatives. Azi, thank you so much for giving us your time and graciously joining us.
Of course, happy to be here.
All right, so lovely to have you on the show. Let me straight away dive in and ask you to share some insights into your journey at Kyndryl, especially in your role as VP of the Global Strategic Alliances.
Sure. Unlike most others, I actually didn't come from IBM. I worked for a software company, VMware, and was brought into Kyndryl to lead their VMware alliance globally.
Okay.
And today I have moved on. I have VMware, but I also have 7 other alliances globally that we run. It's a very exciting time. I think 5-6 years ago when I was at VMware, the big thing at the time was cloud. Now, I think everyone has either started or further along on their cloud journey. Everyone today is talking about AI and Gen AI.
Right.
And that's an area that we are focusing on heavily with all of our partners across the globe. And we are trying to solve problems very differently from, previously we always use technology. Now we're trying to do it differently. So creative thinking is a big thing for us. And we work very closely with our alliances to address those issues with our clients.
Now, in your role, how do you ensure, alignment and collaboration among different stakeholders to, achieve the common goals?
Well, with every partner, every customer, it's different. And then you add the complexity of going to different countries, different
Right.
cultures, different ways of doing things.
Right.
And although some may call it challenging, that's the most interesting part of my career and my work life. So coming to India today for the first time, it's been fantastic. But what I've heard here today has been very different from the challenges, for example, our clients or our partners experience when I've been to Argentina or Brazil or Canada or UK. So that's the part of the job that's very interesting for me, and that's where creative thinking comes into play. You go in, you kind of, I like to start talking not just to the C-suite, but also to the actual people that do the work. That is where you get a better understanding of the real challenges that they're experiencing. And then you can take all of that learning, take it back to what I like to call the mothership, back to US, and kind of bring the teams together and say, okay, well, this is the challenge they're experiencing in India. Which is very different from, for example, what we heard last week in Philippines, and coming up with solutions that work specifically for that particular region, but also taking those learnings and then trying replicating it for other regions. That's the interesting part of my role.
It's very interesting that you would use the word interesting because, well, as you mentioned, different regions globally, the challenges would be so different. You did mention the term creative thinking a couple of times. Could you maybe give us an example of that?
Yeah, one of the major themes I have within my team is historically people like to work in a box. So there's a set of criteria, there's a set of rules, ways of doing things.
Like processes established.
Exactly, things that have worked for 20 years.
Right.
So I've always liked to color outside the lines. So the box is great, it's worked, but just because it worked 20 years ago, it doesn't mean it will continue working and being effective.
Right.
And then when you look at it from business perspective, we're in a very crowded space. There are lots of other companies that are really delivering the same type of services we do. How do we differentiate ourselves and our capabilities? The only way we can do that is by looking outside the box. So what I promote internally within our team is bring down the walls, kind of open the doors, look outside the box, and maybe something that you've done for the last 10, 20 years, it's worked, but try it differently. See if just doing it another way would work. And if it doesn't, that's fine. Lessons learned. All of those, even mistakes, are actually positive experiences that you can learn and kind of take it to your next project. So creative thinking is not following the standards or the existing processes. Just try and looking at it differently. That is the big theme within my team. And that's what I like to promote as I go to different countries. And that's why I find that interesting, because as we go to different countries, the challenges are very different.
Right.
I mean, it could be, some are very basic and some are things that we never even thought about. And that kind of makes you think differently. Right? You have to look at it in a different lens to better address the issues or the challenges and come up with a solution that then sets you apart from your competition.
Right. I mean, you did mention the fact that, the box, as you said, has worked for so many years, and, trying to go outside the box. There's a very popular book globally. It's called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. I think the book, also espouses kind of the same principles that you are talking about. Now, you've got an extensive background in cloud computing. Now, using that background, what are the key strategies you employ to drive successful collaboration with your partners?
Yeah, so with cloud, if you go back, let's say 10 years ago, when the concept of cloud started being a hot thing.
Right.
Typically, when you went into clients and you spoke with different stakeholders, the strategies were, I'm going in with this partner and that's it.
Right.
Today, when you go back talk to the same stakeholders, that is no longer the case. They're looking at multi-cloud. Different workloads fit better on different clouds, and even taking it further and introducing AI and Gen AI into that. So as you're migrating your environment onto cloud, which is still an infrastructure somewhere, you want to make sure it's AI enabled. So as you go into accounts, okay, maybe you don't have an AI strategy today, but you may have that 2 years down the road. So let's plan for it today. So when you're migrating your workload onto Microsoft Azure, onto AWS, onto Google Cloud or OCI, keep that in mind that the infrastructure underneath supports your potential AI or Gen AI strategy. That is where cloud is going. So today, if I go to an account or if I'm talking to a partner about whether it's public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, we have to talk about the AI that wraps around that as well. And that's the strategy we take forward.
All right. You spoke a little bit about Gen AI and AI globally. Now, how do you see AI, sort of evolving, and how do you see it impacting businesses going forward?
I think today everyone has an interest in Gen AI, and everyone, at least publicly, has to talk about Gen AI to be relevant. The way we look at it, we are, truly, we are not just a services company, but we're a technology company. And what I mean by that is, yes, we deliver services, but why is our services different from others? Is because we like to actually do things a little bit better. So we build IP, we deliver services differently. And AI, Gen AI, plays very nicely into that. We're all about automation. We don't want to do anything custom. We want to be able to kind of do it once and be able to rinse and repeat across the board. Now, there may be some nuances with different industries, different countries, but at the core of it, we want to provide a standard. So as we look at Gen AI and AI, that gives us a much higher ability to deliver that.
Okay.
So right here, for example, I actually lead the Gen AI Alliance within Kyndryl. And what we're looking at, every partner we're working with, great. How do we wrap Gen AI around that? And how do we take that then to the customer and see, how we can kind of explore? Now, when we take it to customers, although everyone is talking about it, not a lot of clients really know what to do with it. They just know they got to do something.
Right.
But what? And that's where we
how
come
can it
into,
help them?
Exactly. And that's how we come into play, because we can kind of go to their environment and say, okay, well, which workload? For this workload, let us show you how introducing Gen AI can, let's say, automate things, help you if it's a banking industry with maybe it's your app user interface, provide a better experience to your customers, maybe it's internal for your employees. But that's how we can help from Gen AI perspective. But is anyone all the way to the end, deployed, all, up and running and, happy? We haven't seen that. Everyone is still trying to kind of figure out what does that mean to their business.
Right.
And that's where we come into play to help clients in their journey.
Well, it's rapidly evolving, so I understand that businesses are also evolving and trying to see how it benefits them as well. Now, I understand that application modernization is a significant focus area for Kyndryl. Now, can you tell me, the challenges and opportunities you encounter while, guiding clients through their application modernization?
Yeah, so historically we've been on the infrastructure side.
Right.
And there's been times where, some clients or partners have discounted us as it relates to application. And I always like to say when I go to an account and I'm talking to them, or when I, meet a partner, is that the application sits on top of an infrastructure. So unless you've modernized your infrastructure, you can't actually even do anything with the application. And that's where clients actually kind of trip over themselves, because they have a plan from application perspective, but then their infrastructure doesn't support it. So what we've done within Kyndryl, we have a practice called AD&AI, and that's essentially their focus. So we have our infrastructure team that works on modernizing the infrastructure, and our application team can modernize your application. And again, I like to take it back to Gen AI, introduce AI and Gen AI as part of that. So as you're modernizing, let's not just take baby steps. Let's, plan for where you are hoping your environment to be 2-3 years down the road.
Right.
But let's have all the basics in place so that you can have a fully maybe automated, Gen AI enabled application. by, let's say, 2027 or
Right.
2028.
Right. So the infrastructure should support the evolution which is likely to come in the next couple of years.
Exactly.
Now, as you've got a vast experience in, executive sales and managing complex data centers, how do you approach the sales process differently when it comes to, pitching transformative IT solutions such as cloud migrations to a prospective client?
I like to think that we don't actually sell anything. We go on a journey with our clients. Whether they're on a journey to modernize their environment, or they're on a journey to automate certain things, or deploy a specific technology, or migrate onto public cloud, we go on a journey with them. And as part of that journey, our goal is to bring the best of breed, depending on the technology, depending on the challenges they have, and depending on the targets they have. So at times we would even partner with partners that we compete with, because together we can help the customer better.
Right.
That's how I would view solutioning a potential opportunity with a customer.
Right. It's not so much of a, selling something to the customer, but helping the customer get from point A to point B, or optimizing the journey for that matter.
Exactly. We are all consultants, and we're there to assess their environment and help them achieve their goals and get to their targets.
All right. Now, given your background in consulting and engagement management, if you could share some strategies that you have found particularly effective in building strong client relationships.
The big thing is listening. A lot of times, as technologists, we go to a client and we already have decided what the client needs without asking the question as to what they think they need. So I think listening, that's the best strategy. So go in, understand what are their goals. Maybe there are certain things that today it would not work for them, but find out what their goals are. And then again, going back to creative thinking, then I think as a consultant, as a good consultant, your job is to get their requirements, their challenges, take that and come up with the best solution that works for them. Not for you, but for them. And that's how you become a true consultant.
As you've got a vast experience, 24 plus years. So in such a long career, what would you say are the memorable challenges that you have faced, and how did you overcome them, if you want to share some insights?
So a couple of challenges. I actually started as an engineer before moving to sales. So that was a challenge.
Right.
I got my computer science degree and I went into engineering. And within maybe a couple of days, I realized I do not like this. I wanted to be in front of customers and being a little bit more collaborative that way.
Right.
It took me a few years to kind of find my way to more of a pre-sales and then eventually sales roles. But making the transition was very difficult.
Right.
You're tagged as an engineer, you're tagged as a seller. But I did overcome that eventually. That was great. There has been just generally being in tech as a female in tech. It's not, when I first started, it was not very common. So that was another challenge. But the way I look at it, every challenge is actually an opportunity.
Right.
Opportunity to do things better, do different. And my dad always used to say, all you need to do to get Azi to do something is to just tell her she cannot do it. And then that's it. She will make sure she can do it. And every time I had a challenge when I was transitioning in my career, I was told, you cannot do this because you are an engineer. You need sales experience.
Right.
And that gave me the motivation to essentially prove them wrong, which has been good. I'm not complaining. So I enjoy that. But that's, there's been challenges here and there, but if I look at it as a whole, it has been a great experience. There's really nothing I would change. I never wanted to get into tech. I actually wanted to become a chef. So today, after 20 plus years, am I upset? No, I think life has been great. I've met a lot of people, different backgrounds, different cultures, and it has been an education. Right. An educational journey that is still going. So it's been great.
It has been great. But do you get time to cook though?
I do cook. I actually did own a restaurant in between jobs for about 1.5 years. It didn't work out, but I do cook and I love cooking. Yes.
Well, you're telling me the challenges that you've encountered in life have helped you grow and become what you are today. Now, you did talk about the fact that when you started in tech, that there were not too many ladies around. I want to ask you a question about that. That you have a passion for diversity and inclusion. You want to promote that. How do you ensure that at Kyndryl?
So for me, in my team, diversity is key. And by diversity, don't get me wrong, I am not looking for minorities to be given special treatment. On the contrary, I want to be treated much like my male counterparts.
Right.
And I actually had this conversation earlier today. When you give special treatment, you actually take away from their accomplishment, because now they have this role because they were a minority, not because they are good at what they do,
right,
but because they were a minority.
Questions their ability.
Exactly. And I don't ever want anyone to give me an opportunity because I'm female and I'm brown. No, give me the opportunity because I have the skill set that's right for the job. So as I look at my team, I've always looked to introduce diversity where there wasn't one, but more importantly, give the job to the right person. Sometimes that has been an African American female, sometimes that has been an Asian male, and sometimes it's white male, and sometimes it's white female. I guess when I talk about diversity is to get past those limitations that human beings put on ourselves,
right,
and get rid of those and just look at the talent. Does this person, regardless of who they are, can they deliver the job that's required for this particular position?
Right.
And if yes, it doesn't matter if it's a man, woman, young, old, middle-aged, whatever whatever color they may come in, give them the opportunity to have that role and actually execute and prove that they really were meant to be in that role.
Now, Azi, I've got one final question for you, and that is, the technology is evolving rapidly, customer demands are evolving rapidly. Now, how do you stay abreast of all of it and, make sure that Kyndryl remains relevant?
Read. Read and surround yourselves with very smart people. So if you look at my organization, my team, I've handpicked the individuals that work in my team specifically because of the knowledge they bring in. And read. You gotta read, you gotta educate yourself every day. Every day I teach this to my kids. Every day you gotta learn something. Because if you don't, you've actually lost from educational perspective. Because everybody else learned something and you didn't. So you missed out. So constantly educating yourself. I'm not big on classroom settings. I'm more of a hands-on, show me what it looks like versus read about it. So I watch a lot of TED Talks that I find very valuable, and just having meetings, one-on-ones with people, just to and I always say, let me pick your brain because I want to learn. And but it's a constantly changing environment and industry. And if you don't educate yourself, you're no longer going to be relevant.
Well, this has been a very engaging and a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for taking time out of a busy schedule and talking to us, Azi.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely to be here, and hopefully we get to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, in today's digital evolution, AI, automation, and cloud computing are driving efficiency and innovation worldwide. Azi Handley, VP of Global Strategic Alliances at Kyndryl, embodies this transformative spirit. Through her leadership and expertise, Azi navigates complexities, accelerates cloud adoption, and shapes impactful digital initiatives. Our conversation highlights strategic partnerships, AI's future, application modernization challenges, and effective sales strategies. As industries adapt, collaboration, agility, and innovation remain pivotal. Together, we embrace the dynamic landscape of digital transformation, poised for continuous growth and advancement.